Pam Bondi had always believed that a single measured word could shatter the status quo. On that brisk morning in Sacramento, California, as the clock ticked just past 9 a.m., she stepped into a rarely used press conference room at the Department of Justice. The setting was unusual, bright, sterile, and intimidating, with studio lights so harsh that every nuance of expression was laid bare. Reporters, legal experts, and political pundits filled every seat, their murmurs mingling with the low hum of anticipation. Pam Bondi strode confidently to the podium at the far end of the rectangular table. Her posture was impeccable, her tailored suit and pressed hair a testament to her unwavering professionalism. In front of her lay a neat stack of sealed documents, proof that the system was about to be held accountable. No teleprompter, no scripted lines, just cold, hard facts. With a calm yet razor-sharp tone, she announced, "A federal warrant has been issued against Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for obstruction of federal immigration enforcement." Her eyes, scanning the sea of faces, betrayed nothing but determination. The word struck like a lightning bolt across Sacramento. Within seconds, headlines exploded online. Hashtag AOC Warrant, hashtag DOJ Accountability, and hashtag Stand With AOC trended nationwide. The press conference room, though formal in its setup, was charged with a palpable energy, a mix of disbelief and anticipation of what was to come. For months, Bondi had been quietly gathering evidence. Behind the scenes, her team had compiled internal memos, encrypted message logs, and witness testimonies that hinted at a broader pattern of interference in federal operations. The catalyst was a controversial decision made by Judge Boasberg, a ruling that had quietly obstructed immigration enforcement, all under the guise of protecting political allies. It was this calculated act that Bondi had zeroed in on. Her statement was not merely a recitation of legal infractions. It was a rallying cry against complacency of power. "This is not a leaked memo or political gossip," she stated, her voice unwavering. "This is official, a sealed and signed warrant tied to interference with lawful federal operations. Our investigation shows that the actions in question encouraged undocumented immigrants to resist IC directives." The room fell silent, each person grappling with the gravity of her revelation. Meanwhile, far from Sacramento's intense spotlight, Representative Ocasio-Cortez was in a modest community center in Fresno, having just wrapped up a heartfelt discussion on civil rights and practical legal guidance. Her assistant Jordan approached with a phone in hand. The screen flashed the breaking news, a federal warrant against her. In that moment, AOC's steely resolve faltered, a brief, unguarded glimpse of shock that revealed this was more than a mere legal technicality. It was personal and deeply political. Back in Sacramento, Bondi stepped away from the podium as questions erupted. Reporters clamored. Is this politically motivated? Where's Representative Ocasio-Cortez now? What does this mean for Congress? Yet Bondi offered no further explanation. Her delivery was clear and resolute, leaving the room and the nation to absorb the implications of her revelation. The cameras continued to roll as she departed, accompanied by her aides, leaving behind an audience stunned by the magnitude of what had just been unveiled. Outside the studio, the air was thick with tension. Small groups of protesters gathered, some holding handmade signs that read, "Freedom over fear," while counter-protesters shouted that AOC was trying to silence dissent. In the corridors of power, staffers at the DOJ and on Capitol Hill exchanged nervous glances, aware that the ripple effects of this warrant would soon extend far beyond Sacramento. Over the next 48 hours, the firestorm only grew. Internal DOJ emails leaked in hushed tones confirmed what Bondi had long suspected. There were deliberate attempts to erase critical records. Encrypted text surfaced with cryptic phrases such as, "We'll bury it in pretrial, no files, no panic, unless forced." These messages, though brief, reinforced perception that Judge Boasberg had orchestrated a cover-up to protect powerful interests. As the nation awoke to the news, social media exploded with reaction videos, heated debates, and trending hashtags. Cable news panels featured legal analysts dissecting Bondi's statement, while everyday citizens took to their devices to express outrage or, in some cases, bewildered support. One commentator declared, "This isn't just about immigration enforcement. It's about holding the powerful accountable, no matter who they are." The debate grew fierce. crossing party lines and prompting even typically reserved media personalities to weigh in. For AOC, the fallout was deeply personal. Her supporters rallied with messages of defiance and calls for a full investigation, while detractors seized on the warrant as evidence of political overreach. In a hurried strategy meeting at her local office in Salinas, her chief of staff, Malik, allowed a stern letter from the DOJ's Office of Legislative Affairs, demanding clarification on the details of a recent educational webinar. "They're not just coming after you. They're trying to send a message," Malik said gravely. The implications were clear. This was not an isolated incident, but a systematic effort to intimidate dissenting voices. AOC's response, however, was marked by quiet resilience. In an impromptu Instagram live session later that day, she addressed her followers directly. "If teaching people how to ask for a warrant is a crime," she said, her voice low yet steady, "then we have a much bigger problem than immigration enforcement." Her words, delivered without grandstanding, resonated with many who believed that knowledge of one's rights was a fundamental freedom, not a political weapon. As the legal and political battles intensified, the narrative shifted from a singular focus on the warrant to a broader debate about equality under the law. In coffee shops, living rooms, and classrooms across the country, ordinary citizens debated whether the rules truly applied equally to everyone, or if the powerful enjoyed a dangerous level of immunity. News outlets, op-eds, and late-night talk shows all echoed the central question: can we trust a system where accountability is selectively enforced? Behind the scenes, Bondi's relentless pursuit of truth had set a new standard. In a series of private briefings with federal investigators and constitutional scholars, her team meticulously reviewed every internal memo, every encrypted message, and every deleted record tied to the case. Their findings painted a picture of a system in disarray, a system where powerful names and long-held positions could obscure the truth until someone like Pam Bondi stepped forward to expose it. In one particularly tense moment during an all-night strategy session, Malik, her chief of staff, broke the silence. "We're not just fighting for one person," he said, his voice heavy with determination. "We're fighting for every citizen who believes that no one is above the law." His words, shared in hushed tones around a cluttered table strewn with documents and empty coffee cups, added a layer of urgency to the unfolding drama. Later that evening, as the public's reaction grew and the legal documents began to circulate more widely, Bondi took a moment to reflect on the broader implications. In a rare off-camera interview, she stated, "I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to ensure that our legal system works for everyone. When powerful individuals manipulate the rules to protect their own interests, it undermines the very fabric of our democracy." Her words, measured yet forceful, struck a chord with many who had long felt marginalized by a system that operated in shadows. As night fell over Sacramento, the initial shock began to give way to a sober realization. This was only the beginning. The warrant had ignited a firestorm that would reshape political discourse and force a national conversation on transparency and accountability. Pam Bondi's quiet, unyielding stance had transformed a routine press conference into a moment of historical significance, a moment that would be remembered not for loud rhetoric, but for the steadfast commitment to truth. In the days that followed, the story continued to evolve. More internal documents surfaced, sparking debates on cable news and social media. Protests flared, both in support of and in opposition to AOC, and legal experts scrutinized every detail of the case. Yet amid all the chaos, one fact remained clear: accountability was not a partisan issue. It was a universal standard that must be upheld, no matter who held power. If this story moves you, share it with someone who believes in the strength of truth and accountability. Subscribe for more real stories that cut through the noise and reveal what character truly looks like in the moments that matter most.